Now, South African President Jacob Zuma survived an impeachment vote in Parliament today. The vote, of course, was launched after the Constitutional Court ruled that the president ignored an order to repay state funds spent on his private home. Zuma had the support of the African National Congress, which, of course, controls almost two-thirds of the assembly. Of course, the president won with 233 lawmakers voting against the impeachment motion, while 143 voted in favour. Zuma did not attend the proceedings. Now, joining us now to talk about today's tough session at the House of Assembly is Sumitra Naidu in Johannesburg. Sumitra, welcome to the show. Now, of course, we did know that ANC holds about 62% of the parliament. South Africans now seem to be fed up with President Zuma. Just looking at today's parliamentary proceedings, the international community also skeptical. What are the polls and, of course, the market saying about the events this week?
Well, Uche, we are still waiting for a date for local government elections, and while the feeling on the ground seems to be a move away from votes in favour of the ANC, it's still hard to tell what South Africans will actually do. There was some interesting analysis this week on the upcoming elections in regard to the ruling party. In reality, a very large part of the population is not monitoring events in Parliament. Many don't understand the complexities. They're more worried with everyday bread and butter issues. And for them, the ANC remains the party that brought freedom. Now, when you look at the markets, this is a very different community of people. The rand reacted immediately to today's events. Yesterday, the currency was still at its best level in 4 months, and today it's down almost 2.5%. Investors are very nervous. They're looking for more certainty, more political certainty, especially at a time like this when the economy is struggling and there's, this impending problem of this downgrade that's still hanging over the country.
And on that note, Sumitra, what next for South Africa at this point? I mean, is it business as usual? What decisions can we expect from the ANC?
Well, from what we saw in Parliament today, it's nothing but usual. Opposition parties are not giving up on this one just yet. And what's really interesting is that this is the first time that they've all pulled together. The parties have almost formed a collective on this issue since the Constitutional Court ruling last week, which said that President Jacob Zuma had broken his oath of office. Now, there's sort of a camaraderie between the parties in their efforts to remove the president. It was also quite surprising after that Court decision that the ANC came out in support of the president. The Secretary General even said talk of impeachment was an overreaction. So it seems that it might be business as usual for the ANC unless there's ongoing pressure on the party to actually make a decision. On the other hand, I suppose we will have to wait on opposition parties and their next move. We heard some of them saying outside of Parliament this evening that they will now take this impeachment proceeding to the Constitutional Court, and that's essentially what they did previously with the whole Nkandla matter. That dragged on for 6 years until it came to a final stop with the Constitutional Court. However, of course, that ruling hasn't been enough to have the president himself resign, so it will be up to opposition parties now. I think the move is, I think now it's really just wait and see what next from the opposition parties in regard to this.
Well, certainly we'll be following that story. Many thanks, Sumitra, for that update, of course, joining us from Johannesburg.